All right, comrades. So I'm joined today by one of our elevated mentorship private clients, Zachary. Now, Zachary's from born and raised in Columbus, Ohio, and in the last 12 months, Zachary's been able to grow his business from I think he was like maybe like he was making around like 3 to 4K a month, all the way now to about 11 to 12K per month. When he first started working, this was about the $20-25 price point. Now all the way to $100 price point in Columbus, Ohio. So I guess Zachary, like, start us off, dude. Like how do we get to this point overall in this growth?
So I started off in my mom's basement, like a lot of people, just cutting up my friends for fun. I'd charge like $5 here and there, but it wasn't anything that I took serious. And thankfully, I had started my Instagram then just to post my friends up, and I thought it was kind of funny. And I ended up going to college for like a semester, and it just felt like it wasn't the right choice for me, which I know a lot of people can relate to that. And so I ended up just going all in on the barbering thing because I had always had that as like a little side hustle, I guess you could say. And so I went to barber school, and right out of barber school, I didn't had like no confidence in myself, so I went to like the shop with like the lowest expectation, I guess you could say. And so of course that comes with it being like a low price point, and like they really just want you to churn out haircuts as fast as possible. So I got caught in that, just I guess you could say like rat race, or just a cycle of just cutting the same people over and over again and just giving them a just okay enough haircut to, get to the next one and doing more of a volume game.
Gotcha.
And so I did that for a few years, and then I eventually saw the EM stuff online, so I decided I wanted to give that a try because it just felt like I was reaching like a dead end.
Cool. Well, I guess like for you, dude, Zach, like, like obviously you're in Columbus, Ohio. Like, how was like the barber, I guess, space out there? Like, how was like the industry, and like how was just like that, I guess, yeah, the barbering mind frame out there?
It's very like traditional barber out here, like classic, like shave parlor almost, I guess you could say, mom and pop everywhere. There's not a whole lot of people that advertise themselves online, especially when I started. It's starting to get a little bit more popular now, but there really wasn't anybody doing what you guys do, where you advertise yourself online to get people from a much broader range, you know what I mean, as opposed to just getting people from the neighborhood.
Gotcha. And I guess for you, I mean, why didn't you just want to continue doing that? Because I mean, obviously you left college, you did this barbering thing. Like, what made you like not want to? I guess you follow the typical trend and like at least even look into something different overall. Like, what really stood out to you overall?
So honestly, what made me want to make a change, because I like cutting hair and I like the job I had, I like the clients I had and stuff, but I was really living like paycheck to paycheck and like not really having much left over at the end of the day. And then when I made the switch over to my studio, I was actually losing money, you know what I mean? A little bit higher overhead and a little bit less people coming in. So I was sort of at a point where I was like, gotta make a change, you know what I mean? Something's gotta change, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I guess for you, like, how long, like, were you kind of in that cycle, and like, were you like trying to actively fix it? Were you kind of just like coasting? Like, what were you doing throughout that time period?
I was mainly just trying to get better at cutting hair. You know what I mean? I was sort of under the mindset of like, if you just get really good at what you do, like someone will kind of swoop in and offer you like a money in some way. You know what I mean? You just kind of assume that as you get better, your pay gets better too. But at least in the barber industry, you know what I mean? You kind of have to like make your own way. And a lot of times the people that make the most money aren't even necessarily the best haircutters. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like you kind of saw like the more time you put into that, almost like the less money you made on the back end, damn near.
Right. Yeah. Because the more I learned about cutting hair, the more I wanted to spend 45 minutes to an hour, perfecting the cut so I could post it. And then the owner of the shop was getting mad at me for taking too long because I'm still charging him $20 for the same thing.
Yeah, interesting. So like for you, was that like a big mental shift overall? Because I think for a lot of barbers, like that's a big mental hurdle to get over, instead of like focusing on the skill set side. Was it kind of like take some time to watch some content to finally come around to this thing, or what really shifted your mindset overall?
What really shifted my mindset is, I guess I was always a fan of barber content. Being a barber, I would watch stuff, and so I was already aware of a lot of the people that were in the program before I was aware of the program itself. And so I think I saw the video of the first in-person EM event where I saw like Greg and Nicolo and Henry and like everyone together, and it just clicked in my head. I'm like, of course they all are like in contact with each other, you know what I mean? The people at the top always share ideas and stuff like that, and I'm like, that's how it is in any other industry, so I'm like, of course that's how it is here. And I'm like, damn, I wonder what they know that I don't know, because obviously there's a big gap.
Yeah, interesting. So you actually saw like from one of our events, and then like you kind of poking around, like how did you like I think it was like what, January, even like February of like last year, like what was the time frame that you actually actually like decided to like make that leap and like work with us inside Elevated Mentorship?
So I was aware of elevated mentorship maybe like 2023, 2024, but what really made me make the leap was when I started my own studio and I had a lot more freedom, so I could change the prices and change the length of the appointment. So it was just a lot more freedom. And like I said, that was the point where I actually was like the bank was going down every month. So I was like, oh shit. And it was maybe only like 2 months that I was in the studio, and I just had seen a lot of stuff online about the program. And like I said, I had been following a bunch of the other barbers that had been a part of it. So I was like, there's got to be something to it,
Sure. I guess for you, because obviously, like, I know you said that like nobody was really posting content back then. Was there a little bit of fear, like, I guess coming into that? Because obviously a big thing we do is like posting content and make sure we get clients in from social media. Did you have like a little bit of fear, like, oh my God, like, is this actually going to work in my location? Because nobody else is doing this out here. Like, nobody's else charging this price point. Like, what was kind of going through your head around that?
There was definitely a little bit of fear as far as like, what was the client going to think? Like when I asked if I can record them, and also what are like, other people in the city going to think when they see me making videos on all my clients and stuff like that. But it's just that was a small mental hurdle to get over for me, I feel like. But definitely you have a little bit of doubt, and especially getting started, it feels weird, you know what I mean? When you're used to just cutting people and sending them out the door, sending them out the door. It's weird to be like, hey bro, do you mind if I take a picture of this real quick? Because regular people aren't models, so you kind of have to like coach them a little bit, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you mind if I save you on my camera roll real quick, my guy, right? So.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I guess for you, like, I know you said you had like a little bit of doubt, like again, to coming into that, and like, seeing other people like maybe not doing that out where you're at in Columbus, Ohio. Like, what really made you shift your mindset? Was it like a win? Was it like getting the first client in? Was it like the first big video you had? Like, what was that moment where everything started to click, where you're like, okay, this is possible for me?
Yeah, like honestly, as soon as I started posting daily, I mean, when I joined, I just decided I'm just going to trust the process. Like I said, I was leaking money, so I was just like, just going to do it exactly to a T, how they say.
Yeah.
Because that way, if it doesn't work, then, you know what I mean? If you do it to a T and it doesn't work, then you have no one to blame. But
yeah,
it was really like the first month or two, I was posting every single day, and I just instantly started getting people coming in, like old clients that forget about you or didn't know where that you moved locations, or people never heard of you before. Because it's that consistency, it kind of is like, it just that alone sets you apart from a lot of the other people.
Yeah. And I'm sure because like you said, like there's nobody really, I mean, probably like back then, there was nobody really like, I mean, it was only back then like 12 months ago, but like 12 months ago, there was like nobody that was posting on social media, consistently posting video content. And so it was kind of just like a wide open market for you, kind of just simply take over. Did it kind of seem like that when you first started posting?
Yeah. I was doing some of the TikTok research, looking up Columbus barbers, Ohio barbers, this and that, and there was almost nothing that would pop up.
Yeah.
And so after a couple months of me doing it, I started looking at it again, and it would be like 8 videos deep, and they're just all my videos. And now I get people all the time, they say, "Wait, I just looked up on TikTok Columbus barbers, and you're the first one. So
yeah,
it seemed easy to take over, honestly.
Yeah, it's like what I always think, like when a barber is like, oh, but nobody, I don't know, nobody in my town is doing this. I'm like, dude, that's the perfect opportunity, because like legit, you can easily take over just because no one is doing a damn thing, and like you're reaping all the rewards from that as well too. Like first Mark overall, you're like the best results, like in terms of like the haircuts that you do, and make sure you get into the videos are really good for yourself. I think at the end of the day, like for yourself, when you look back at like how the market in Columbus, Ohio has changed in the barber industry, like what has the shift been like? Are people starting to charge higher price points now because of you, or like what is it like overall?
I've noticed a lot of people starting to raise their prices almost in line with where mine are at, and now I see a lot of people starting to bring them up from like the lower end even. Like it used to be pretty like I started off at 30, because 30 to 40 was pretty much like what everybody charged, and like the fancy shop would charge like 50.
Yeah.
Right. And so once I started going up, I started seeing other people slowly increase their prices. People that used to be like stuck at 30 start going 30 or 40, 50, slowly increasing. But I also noticed a lot more people doing the social media, trying to post and get the location and their names and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I guess for you, right? Because like like you're charging $100 in Columbus, Ohio. Was anybody else charging that price point like that of, or like that open in Columbus, Ohio?
As far as I know, at least nobody that puts it out there publicly that they charge much. You know what I mean? Unless it's like some sort of private endeavor. But at least for a basic haircut, you know what I mean? Just a haircut, no hair dyes or anything like that. I'm not the only one that I know of.
Yeah, I guess for you, like what really changed your mindset? Because I think a lot of barbers have like a mental frame of like, man, like if no one else is charging that, then I can't charge that. Like first of all, like did you have a little bit of that in your head, and then also too, as you're growing and scaling your pricing and raising your prices to that hundo, like what was going through your head? Were you a little bit nervous at any point in time? Were you kind of like, I don't know about this hundo thing? Like where was your head on that too?
Honestly, yeah. By the time I got to the 100, I was already pretty confident in the price raises, I actually started to like them a lot, because you start to realize that the higher price point clients are actually way better to deal with than the lower price point clients.
Yeah.
So I'd almost be looking forward to it.
Yeah. Like,
The 100 one itself, it just being the triple digits, going from, and it being that I didn't know if anyone else in the city was even charging that. It was, part of me was like, oh, like I kind of feel bad like doing that. I don't know if I want to do the hundo. Maybe I'll just stay at 80. But like I said, I really locked in with the program, and I remember watching all the modules and stuff. And so every time I feel something, I'm like, I remember the video where Daniel's like, this is how you're gonna feel, and you know what I mean. This is what you do when you feel that way. And I'm like, fuck, that's my complacency creeping in, being like, oh, I'll just stay at 80, because then if I just stay at 80, then that means I just stay at 80 until I'm 80 years old. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You gotta progress at some point.
Yeah, and I think a lot of barbers don't even think about that. Like, it's like, okay, so if you're gonna stay at that price point, so what are you gonna do? Just cap yourself out for like the rest of your life? Like,
you're right. Just cut the same 100 people for on repeat for the rest of your life until you literally fall over and can't do it anymore.
yeah, and like there's always inflation. Like your dollar's always losing like value every single day. So it's like even if you stay at the same income level, you're actually losing money year after year. It's like what sense does that fucking make at the end of the day?
That's what was happening to me at the mom and pop. It started off, and like I said, I was like 19 years old as my first job, so I was pretty happy with it. And then as bills get higher and as inflation kicks in and stuff like that, I'm like, damn, like not making any money.
Yeah,
and
especially
another thing that you said too. I don't remember where exactly it was, but you're like, if you take all the years that you've been cutting hair and all the money you've made, and then you look at your bank account right now, it's like if you don't have any money in your bank account right now, then you've made zero money cutting hair or whatever. And I'm like, damn, that is a good point. I'm like, I've been cutting for like 3-4 years, and I have like not shit in my account.
Yeah.
So really, I've made zero, and I was like, I've just been cutting to survive, and that kind of really shifted my viewpoint a little bit for sure.
Yeah, like the only reason why like I even like realized that, I mean, like my first year cutting hair, like again too, I moved out of my parents' house when I was 19, and so like I really had no money, and like I was just like basically working my face off day in and day out trying to grind. I was working valet and cutting hair just to make rent and like pay some bills. And I just remember at the end of that year, I was like so fucking tired. I'm like, dude, I basically just worked just to basically scrap by. I'm like, people do this, like not just for like 1 year, because I think I was like 20 at the time, so I moved back with my parents. But I was like, people do this like for like 10, 15, 20 years, or like their whole life. Like I just knew then, I was like, there's no fucking way, no matter what, I'm never gonna set myself up for that at any point in time. Yeah, I guess for you, like obviously in Columbus, Ohio, like did your parents like obviously ever like kind of question you and like your price raises, or like your friends, or like maybe even barbers around you that you're close with? Did anybody ever like kind of question you at all?
I don't have too many friends that are barbers, to be honest, just because the way it is. But my friends, they honestly have all been really supportive. My friends that come to me to have them cut their hair, they'll always say they're happy for me. If they can't afford it anymore, they'll be like, oh man, I can't afford it, but I'm happy for you.
Absolutely.
My mom is definitely, every time I go out, she's like, are you sure? Like, what about your friends from high school? Are they still gonna come to you? She's like, are you sure you're still gonna have like clients?
Yeah.
I'm like, it's good, trust. I'm like, there's numbers to go with it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, interesting. I guess like for you yourself, like Zach, like obviously like looking back in our time together, what do you feel like would be the biggest lesson, or was the biggest lesson, or moment that really helped you grow your business overall?
I think the biggest thing that just helped me kind of understand the urgency of it is that like no one's gonna come and like do it for you, you know what I mean? Like I said, I was kind of just working on getting better at cutting hair, waiting for an opportunity to fall in my lap.
Yeah.
And that kind of just doesn't work that way,
Yeah.
No one's gonna come and push your business forward for you. And like we were talking about, you can just cut the same people over and over again, and they're not thinking about how much are you making on the back end, you know what I mean? They're just like, oh, this is my barber, he's a nice guy and he cuts my hair for this much. They're not thinking about the fact that I'm like losing money, you know what I mean? And
yeah.
So it's like, you just kind of gotta do what you gotta do for yourself at the end of the day, you know what I mean? You kind of have to make the tough decisions that need to be made and put in the work for yourself, because nobody, like I said, nobody else is gonna come and do it for you.
Yeah. Because like at the end of the day, dude, I mean, like we're a fucking business. We got into this thing to like actually make money, to provide for ourselves, and like like you said, like get away from like the 9-to-5 potential lifestyle. But it's like like why am I gonna like try to get out of a 9-to-5 to have like a what? Like 8 to 8 damn near, or like a fucking like 7 to 7 type thing. Like doesn't make sense to me at the end of the day.
Yeah. And then you have taxes at the end of the year.
Yeah. I guess for you, like I guess in moments of like when you obviously you're gonna doubt, or you're gonna come up against hardships, like obviously throughout your growth period, working together with us, like what was like kind of your anchor, your social motivation that kept you like pushing boundaries when you did come against like maybe like some like hardships, or just like maybe some hard moments in growing and scaling the business?
Honestly, I used to have a lot of like struggle with anxiety a little bit, you could say.
Really?
A little bit of, like I said, I locked in with the modules and stuff like that, and almost everything that you like feel or think is kind of like addressed in the modules. So I just started looking to step outside of my comfort zone, if that makes sense. Like I used to feel anxious when you're like out of your comfort zone, but then you just tell yourself, oh, you're feeling uncomfortable because you're making change, you know what I mean? Which is what we want to do. So just kind of going through that like mental framing in my head, like in the moment when you start feeling a certain way, you know?
Interesting. Okay. And then like what were some things that were at least hard for you? Like, or that you felt like you had to step out of your comfort zone? Was it like, being on camera? Like, was it just recording content in general? Like, what was it overall?
Yeah, like putting myself on camera, speaking on camera, or a big thing was even like, you know what I mean, making the price raise announcement online is one thing, but then when the people start coming in, and especially your clients that don't necessarily follow you on Instagram, and you got to tell them in person, like just delivering bad news, basically, good news for me, bad news for them, But it was just dealing with people in general, you know what I mean, like talking to clients and talking on camera and just trying different stuff as opposed to when you carbon copy a video that's already done well, you just kind of do exactly what they did. But when you're putting yourself out there and putting your own ideas out there, putting your own spin on it, you're kind of, putting yourself out there for judgment a little bit. But like I said, again, you kind of remind yourself that that's exactly what we want, is to get that feedback so then we can make adjustments and make it better.
Yeah, absolutely. I like, obviously, like Zach, I'm super huge on mindset. Like, of course, like I believe like nobody has like business problems. Everyone has personal problems that bleed into their business. I know you talked about like when you first came in, you were just like dialed in with this thing, like doing it to the T no matter what. What were like some other habits or routines or like non-negotiables that you really had to do over the last 12 months to really push this business forward to like, again, to that 11 to 12K month level?
So some of the non-negotiables, I didn't really have like a set list of stuff that I was going to give up per se. It was more like I had a set list of stuff that I was going to make sure that I got done. And so anything that didn't fit after that just inevitably kind of fell off. Like I used to play video games a lot.
Really?
And for like the last year I haven't played any. And not even because I don't. Like I might play like 10 minutes here and there, but I just don't because I have other stuff that is on the to-do list that's more important, that's gonna like push the business forward. You know what I mean? I used to have a certain amount of time to do this, and so I just kind of fuck around. But when you have extra time and you can put it towards something that's going to actually push the business forward, it's much better to do that,
Yeah, I was going to say it's like more like it was almost like you had a lot of like free time. You're kind of just filled with the free time, and now your free time is filled up with like just focus on growing and scaling the business and really like developing yourself at the end of the day. I guess like looking back on looking back over the year, like what's one piece of advice that you would wish you received earlier, like at least in your career as a barber?
Honestly, I wish I had just started to think of it more as a business, because like I said, I used to do it as like a hobby, and that's kind of what got me into being a barber in the first place and getting my license and all that stuff. Just because I had fun with it, and so I was always trying to preserve that a little bit too much. Like, oh no, like I just do it for fun. Like you kind of need to take it seriously at a certain point. You know what I mean? If you actually want to make money, you have to like take your barber hat off and put your business hat on, or whatever the phrase is.
Yeah. I guess for you, was it really because like, was it just the money thing that kind of flipped the switch? Is like, okay, I kind of need to like stop fucking around and like actually like get serious about this, or is there anything else that kind of went into that as well too?
I mean, it was really just that reality check that it kind of just wasn't going to be as easy as, like get a job and you'll be fine,
Yeah.
Like you kind of have to like push it further yourself, I mean, especially when you're a barber, it's not like you just get like promotions or whatever. That was just really like a wake-up call, because I was living paycheck to paycheck for maybe like 4 or 5 years, and really complacent and just like living, deep in the comfort zone. And so it was real different. But yeah, like I said, once I started losing money, I was like, what am I gonna do, basically?
Yeah.
So I was like, I kind of gotta just switch up the whole thing.
I mean, did you feel like it was like a big shift on like the way you were like running the business? I mean, I know again too, you're running more focused on like the haircut thing, but were you already kind of like in that mode of like, I guess being more business-like and kind of just fit right perfectly into like the trajectory you're going? Or did you feel like you have to switch a lot when you first came in?
Well, since I had already been focused on like almost just exclusively like customer service and like the haircut itself,
yeah,
it kind of just felt like learning a new skill, you know what I mean? Even with the tracking and the business and the posting and the recording and everything like that. It's just a new skill that I was learning, you know what I mean? So it was kind of cool to feel like a beginner again, you know what I mean, in a certain way, because I was kind of just used to doing the same thing like over and over again, just trying to make the haircut just that much more better, but doing these other things, even though I'm not that great at them, you know what I mean? Like I'm not a photographer or like a professional video editor or anything, but doing those things brings in so much more more business, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and it probably like is also more fun because it's like it's a challenge at the end of the day, right? It's kind of like there's no challenge going on in your life. It's like kind of dull and dry. It's like, what am I gonna do? Wake up, cut hair, and that's it. Like there's no challenge in that. I have to have something that I'm like working or fighting towards, right? I guess for you, Zach, like if you go back to the day before you started our program, right, inside of Elevated Mentorship and working with us, what advice would you give yourself knowing what you know now?
I would just say, kind of just trust the process. Like any doubt you have is like to be expected. Everybody experiences doubt, self-doubt, and you wonder like, what if it doesn't work out? But one of the best reframes that I use is when I start thinking, what if this isn't going to work out? Like, what if something goes wrong? I'm like, well, what if it goes exactly the way I want, or what if it works even better than the way I wanted it to? What if, and then I'm like, it's really just the two sides to a coin, and thinking about it either way is just a decision.
Yeah, it depends on like again too what direction you're going. Like, dude, like I think everybody like for the most part, like I think we all fall in that like first category of like, oh, what if this goes wrong? We're always kind of pessimistic by nature, right?
Right.
But it's like just flip the coin. Like, what if it goes right? What if everything happens perfect? You actually move forward, right? And it's like fuck, that would actually be pretty fucking amazing.
Right.
I guess for you, like Zach, like what I'll do now is like, I'll give you a quick minute to like think about like a message that you want to share with like everyone who's watching this real quick. While Zach is like kind of thinking of like what he wants to go and a message to say to you guys. If you guys are looking and interested in growing your business to 20, 30K a month and seeing how we help barbers grow to that level, what I'll do is I'll add a video in the description down below. It's going to be a clickable link, the first link inside the description. It'll take you to about a 30-minute video that's going to break down how we grow and scale barber businesses to 20 and 30K a month, or like for Zach as well too, going from 2K per month all the way 11, 12K per month in about 12 months in Columbus, Ohio. So Zach, what's your message to everyone?
I guess my message would be that if you want to use barbering as a way to change your life and make a big difference and open up a lot of different opportunities for you, you can. And it's really just a decision that you have to make for yourself, that's what you want to do. And you just kind of have to, like I said, make that decision and then stick to it and stay consistent and commit to it.
Fuck yeah. Zach, for you, dude, I appreciate you overall. Like, it's been a fucking wild ride. Again, to like working with you over the last 12 months. I mean, I remember seeing you at the last like EM event in Miami, and you're like so fucking pumped. Like, dude, it's fucking working. We're scaling. I'm like, fuck yeah, dude. So like, I'm glad that again too we could really shatter some beliefs, especially in Columbus, Ohio. Those are always my favorite like wins to get, is like doing something for the first time in like a brand new city overall. Like charging $100, making 12K per month, where maybe it's not like really like that popularized over there. So, dude, you're a fucking trailblazer. You're fucking leading the way out in Columbus, Ohio. Very proud of you, and I'm excited to see what's coming next for you as well, too, bud.
Bet.
Cool.
Is it cool if I add one little story in here?
Dude, yeah. What do you want to add?
Because you mentioned seeing me at the EM event, and it reminded me. I remember being at the EM event, and I was at, I think, the $40 price point at that point, 40, 50, something like that. And I had maybe like 300 followers still, and I had like $200 in my bank account at that point. So I was still heavy, like trusting the process at that point. And that was like 6 months after I had joined. So I was like steady grinding, but it wasn't necessarily showing in the bank account yet. You know what I mean? And I remember meeting everyone, and it was really motivating and stuff. But I remember they all asked me if I wanted to go out, out on the town and stuff. And I was like, I gotta, the finances, I was like, it's not the time to celebrate yet. You know what I mean? And I just trusted the process. And now it's like another 6 months later, and it's like completely different. You know what I mean?
Fuck yeah, dude. Fuck yeah. Good shit. I mean, again, too, it's just like focus and hard work at the end of the day. Like getting the damn thing up. And again, too, like, for yourself, like make sure that you can like lock in and, saying no to some things like maybe going out like once in a while. Like, I'm sure you're gonna be in Miami this time around, right?
Yeah, this time I'm definitely going out.
Fucking go out, bud. We'll fucking go out.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's one of those things where it would have been easy to just be like, fuck it, like, yeah, I'll just do it. But it's like, it just would have been a bad business move. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Staying fucking disciplined on it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.